Betsy, thank you so much for coming over today. I just found out my son's eligible for DDD. They gave me so much information. I'm trying to sort everything out in my head, and I was hoping since your son's involved with DDD, you'd be able to help me out.
Of course, Molly. I'm more than happy to talk to you about the division.
Is that what it's called, the division?
Well, you'll hear both, DDD and the division. Both refer to Arizona Department of Economic Security's Division of Developmental Disabilities. I know, it's really long to say, so most people shorten it to either DDD or the division.
You know, I have a friend who was asking me about the process we went through to become eligible. I'm probably not the best person to answer his questions. Is there somewhere I should point him to get his questions answered?
Well, if he uses the internet, have him check out the DDD website. There's a section that talks about eligibility and even has an online form that he can fill out to start the intake process.
All right, my friend's child is only 8, and as you know, my son's a young adult. How old are most of the people with the division?
Well, DDD serves people of all ages, babies through adulthood.
Okay, now that we've gone through the whole eligibility process, will we ever do that again?
Not necessarily. If your son was younger, he would repeat the process at age 6 and 18. For your son, or for anyone of any age, the process could be repeated if circumstances change. For example, my friend's son was diagnosed with epilepsy but was no longer having seizures, so he repeated the redetermination process. If you have any questions, make sure you ask your support coordinator.
Support coordinator, we just got a letter from ours. We set up our first meeting. Now, the support coordinator is a different person than our intake worker. Does it work that way for everyone?
Well, it depends on where you live in the state. In some cases, the intake worker and the support coordinator can be the same person, but that's not always the case. I know for us, when we started working with the division, it was really helpful for us to understand the structure. Do you think that'd be helpful for you?
Oh, yes, please, that's definitely.
Okay, well, you need to understand that you and your son are the foundation for everything. DDD really values that you are the expert in your own lives. DD is there for and because of you. Your primary point of contact within the division is your support coordinator. Make sure you know their number and how to get in touch with them. Now, each support coordinator reports to a supervisor. That's another person that it's important to know their name and how to get in touch with them. Each supervisor reports to an area manager. Now, I haven't needed to work with our area manager very often, but my support coordinator has said that they needed to work with their supervisor and area manager on different things. Now, each area manager reports to a district manager.
District? Is there more than one?
Yes. DDD serves the whole state of Arizona, but it's divided into 5 districts: North, South, East, West, and Central.
All right, so there's our support coordinator and their supervisor, and we should make sure we've got their names and numbers, right? Then there's the area manager and district manager. Is there anyone else I should know about?
The key people to know are your support coordinator and their supervisors. Sometimes you might talk to someone else in the unit who is a backup support coordinator. Also, at times you might interact with a specialty unit. These units do things like review therapies, monitor residential group homes, and help connect young adults and adults with employment. But if the need arises to work with these, your support coordinator will be able to answer those questions.
Great. Is there anyone else I'll be talking with?
You won't speak to them as often, but another great resource is the division's customer service center. Let me text you that phone number so you have it.
Okay. Now that my son's eligible for the division, what's he going to get?
Well, that depends on his age, priorities, and situation, because no 2 situations are the same.
Isn't it the same for everyone, though? I mean, he's eligible for DDD.
Well, that's where age and his relationship with access matters.
But how's age play into it?
Well, because if he was under the age of 3, he would be eligible for what's Arizona's Early Intervention Program, or AZIP. Children under 3 have a support or service coordinator. They'll have a plan developed called an Individualized Family Service Plan, or IFSP. They'll get services, they'll get help with connecting to community resources, and monthly contact with their support coordinator.
My son's older, so what about for him?
Well, that's where access matters.
Access, that's Arizona's Medicaid program, right?
Yes. Anyone over the age of 3 who's not eligible for access is what the division calls DD only. Someone who is DD only will get a support coordinator and help connecting with community resources. If someone's eligible for access, it depends on the type of plan. One type of plan is called Arizona Long-Term Care, or ALTACS. Let's talk about that in a minute. If someone is eligible for Access, but not all techs, they're called targeted eligible. In addition to the Access healthcare plan, they also receive the same supports as someone who is DD only.
All right, so there's AZIP, DD only, and targeted eligible. And just a second ago, you mentioned Arizona Long-Term Care. What is that?
All techs is a specific plan with Access. If someone is all techs eligible, they'll get a support coordinator, help with connecting with community resources, and funded services may be available.
And all four of these, AZIP, DD only, targeted, and all techs eligible, they're all eligible for DDD?
Yep, all of them are just simply different types of support within the division.
Is that why our intake worker referred us to Access?
Exactly. A lot of families meet with the Access assessor and the DD intake worker close to the same time. The Access assessor makes determination of Access eligibility, and the DDD intake worker is there for DD eligibility. It can help when you meet with these people to ask what their role is. Originally, I had a difficult time keeping everyone straight.
Thanks for the tip. So what my son gets will really depend on his age and whether or not he has a health plan with Access. Is that right?
Yes. It will also be customized to your son's situation. No two situations are the same. The planning teams will help you with that. Do you want to talk about that at another time?
I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.